It's the end of day one, and what better way to end this day than my good buddy here, Chris from Elgato.
Hey, JP, how's it going,
buddy?
All right,
brother. Thanks.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
All right.
Day one of InfoComm 2025 here in hot Orlando.
Hot, and very humid at night.
Very humid.
Very
yeah,
humid.
That storm made it even worse last night.
That was a bit brutal last night. I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
So, we, last time at NAB, we talked about the opportunity to look at the Stream Deck Studio.
Yes.
And since then, and for everybody connecting with us online, you can go check out a video on my YouTube channel where we did an interview at NAB about the Stream Deck Studio. There's been some updates, and I want to welcome everybody watching us live from wherever you may be. Make sure to like and comment and share. There's been some updates about the Stream Deck Studio recently, and maybe we can start off talking about, or not Studio, but the Stream Deck itself on the Scissor keys. I'm sorry.
So for the Stream Deck family, just last month at Computex, we launched kind of something we've never done before, and that's we launched Stream Deck Scissor keys, which is a new iteration that's running parallel to the Stream Deck Mark II, and it looks very similar. This is obviously the Stream Deck XL. This is the Stream Deck Scissor keys, and as you can see, the keys look a little different. So before, ever since we launched the Stream Deck Mark I back in 2017 or maybe earlier, we used kind of a membrane system that's underneath the keys. So if you've ever touched a Stream Deck, you know how the keys feel. Last month, we revolutionized Stream Deck once again and created Stream Deck Scissor keys. And as you can see, there's kind of like a scissor pseudo-mechanical mechanism underneath the keys, very similar to like a laptop keyboard, where you can kind of feel there's a little bit of mechanical action underneath there, and you can feel it especially if you tap a corner, you can feel that actuation versus like with the membrane, it kind of bends a little bit.
Right.
With this one, even if you catch a corner, the entire key actuates and pushes down. For some people love it. Some people really prefer the membrane. It's one of those where, look, we wanted to innovate, we wanted to change it up a little bit.
Sure.
And so we launched Stream Deck Scissor keys at Computex last month, and yeah, it's on sale now. So if you're looking to get a new experience with Stream Deck and you like using the Stream Deck Mark II, or you just want to change it up a little bit, check out Stream Deck Scissor key. One thing that I do want to note is underneath, there is a 1/4-inch thread. So that's one thing, a lot of people in the broadcast space or the ProAV space, they have Stream Decks littered around their production. Now you can put a Stream Deck on a tripod or some other mounting solution. It doesn't have to be, right there in the holder or laying down on the desk like that. You can now mount it to whatever you want.
That's pretty exciting. And I think that's kind of the thing, since obviously in the last conversation talking about really kind of the proliferation, if you will, in terms of Stream Deck being utilized in a lot of different variety of broadcast productions, creator studios, podcast, and everything else. And as you guys kind of implemented this new process of giving a more responsive tactile type feature.
Absolutely.
Especially when we hit the hotkey, making sure that key, when we press it, we know what the response is going to be. So that's pretty exciting, and giving more versatility to the form factor itself to be more modular in terms of the design. That was something you brought up at that NAB we were talking about. Yeah,
modularity and Elgato evolving with its user base, with its consumer base. That is what we're all about, whether it is here at a ProAV broadcasting conference or if it's later in the year at TwitchCon. We're always striving to evolve with our community to make your content creation lives easier.
Right, absolutely. And so now, in kind of taking that, there's been some other updates with the Stream Deck software and the family of products. Is not only at Computex bringing this particular product announcement, but also a virtual type element of on-screen where you can virtually click on it on your monitor.
Exactly, yeah. So right now in beta with Stream Deck 7.0, we launched Virtual Stream Deck. So if you own a physical Stream Deck device, you can test out Virtual Stream Deck for free. And what it does, it just pulls up a little bit of an interface on your desktop, and you can make it tiny, you can make it huge, you can get so many virtual keys, and when you click on those keys with your mouse, it will then trigger that action that you have assigned to it.
Oh, wow.
I use it for soundboards. It's really great to have just, I have my Stream Decks in front of me, but if I'm streaming and I just want to go click to change a sound instead of look down and navigate through a folder, then click that sound, I kind of don't have to remove my eyes from the monitor. It's just click, sound, music change. That's it. So virtual Stream Deck, and you can have it so when you click on an action, so let's say you set a hotkey to shift control opens up the virtual Stream Deck. Once you click on that action, it will then go away. You can have it where it stays. It can be fixed. It can be dynamic. You can make the canvas really big. You can make it just a couple of keys. Really just, again, it evolves with what you need to make your content creation, ProAV broadcasting life easier.
And that's kind of the cue, I think, kind of in terms of the evolving nature of the product itself, and moving on to some of the other products you have that we talked about in terms of like the network dock, and
especially the network dock,
that one. And the network dock, as we talked about at NAB, was
this guy right here.
Yeah, exactly. The ability to take that and network or put your Stream Decks as well as Studio on the network, connected with BitFocus or Companion,
exactly,
right? Or with buttons now.
Yeah, so this is, this was officially announced at Computex as well last month, and so by taking either a PoE connection or regular Ethernet, you can plug that into there. If it's regular Ethernet, provide it some PD power, and then out here you can connect your Stream Deck via USB like you would to a PC. And with this, if you are running a server with a instance of Companion or buttons on that server, you can then run that Ethernet cable, a couple hundred feet to your production. And then this bridges that gap between that 100-foot long Ethernet cable and then a small 6-inch USB from this port into your Stream Deck. So you do not need to be, one of the things was with Stream Deck, you needed to be within that 5-foot range of 5 to 10-foot range of your PC. You wouldn't want to go over that with USB. But with this, you can now go, 100 meter, I think 300 feet is kind of the limit for Ethernet. So you can run that 300-foot Ethernet cable from a server on the other side of the venue and have a Stream Deck in front of you and get that instant feedback with your production. That's
awesome. And so kind of like, and I think that's one of the things because I had somebody ask me about that recently. And and seeing how now, again, expand the presence and being able to remotely or just manage these things in terms of the setup. What else here for InfoComm 2025? Hitting on some other key highlights here of the show. Obviously, we've got the Stream Deck Studio. Anything additional that you guys are kind of trying to focus on in terms of the B2B audience and that type of area?
Absolutely. So we officially launched our modules, which are back here. So these are the Stream Deck modules that we announced at Computex last month, and they are on our website. And what these are is, I'll just take the XL module here. These are the Stream Deck OEM board that would be housed in this plastic. We just removed the meat and potatoes from the plastic, and we'll be selling these boards to creators, engineers, people who are looking to integrate Stream Deck into their own devices or their house. If they, put it as a light switch. If you want to use, we've had a lot of integrations with Mini, like running a projector or lighting in a room. We give you everything you need. So online, you'll get the CAD files to design the housing around the device. We'll give you the HID, PID documentation and API to to just totally bring this device into your workflow as much as we can. We give you this. It comes, the Mini comes with a USB cable. The back on these is a USB-C, and we give you, like I said, the PID, HID, API documentation. We give you the CAD files, but everything else, the world's your oyster. You're free to put this in whatever you'd like. You're free to, put it in a secondary device. You're free to put it in your wall. You're free to 3D print something. We want to put Stream Deck in everyone's hands, and so this is kind of the first step here, is to kind of just give you what you need to make Stream Deck yours.
And I think that's kind of exciting, seeing the products as they kind of evolve and giving you different options to be able to do that. And with the Stream Deck Studio, that was another thing that we hit on at NAB, but here at the show in particular, again, where you can bring in and move it up as part of a more professional setup where you want to have a rack-mounted solution, right?
Exactly.
And obviously that part of the integration with BitFocus around buttons, the partnership that you guys have with them, right? And bridging the technology of now you can have a family of Stream Deck Studios throughout the broadcast or your AV setup.
Exactly. We have 2 here. We have 4 over in our Elgato setup right behind you. And so, in my eyes, it was keyboard and mouse. Keyboard and mouse, keyboard and mouse. In today's age, it's keyboard and mouse Stream Deck. And that's how I kind of view it. So getting more Stream Decks out there, whether it is in the form of the module, the Stream Deck Studio, the Scissor keys, or the Mark II, the XL, or even if Network Dock makes your life easier to put Stream Deck right in your everyday regular setup, that's good enough for me.
It's fantastic. So anything here else at the show that you guys are kind of like in terms of the audience? I mean, obviously you've got, for people with Elgato, we'll put links here for what we're talking about as far as that goes. But, I mean, from an Elgato Corsair perspective, being from Corsair from a PC side of the business, is that you have a pretty rich family of other products, right? In terms of the microphones, key lights, and the face cam pros, and things like that. You can integrate and really kind of have a variety of different setups where, again, you integrate and combine with the Stream Decks, right? And also the integration with other applications like whether it's Zoom, Teams, what have you, right?
Yeah.
So you really are, and the interesting part about the Stream Decks, I think for everybody that may be watching online, the other interesting part about the Stream Deck is your work with like Adobe and other partners and OEMs in that space where you may have an editor that's now using and integrating and using the Stream Decks for their editing process.
Absolutely, yeah. When it comes to our Elgato marketplace and our plugins, one thing I'd like to just announce is when making the Teams plugin, it's not just hotkeys. We worked with Microsoft. Microsoft came to us. We went to Seattle and sat down with them. Microsoft wanted to get their Teams plugin on Stream Deck. Same with Zoom. We worked with Zoom. The Zoom plugin is directly with them. You mentioned Adobe.
Right.
We have integration right now with Photoshop, soon to be Premiere in the near future.
Right.
We went to the Adobe office and we sat down with them. So it's not just hotkeys and macros to work with these programs. It's we are sitting down with these companies because we see the value in Stream Deck, but also they see the value in Stream Deck to get their brands, their products onto Stream Deck for the everyday user.